But let me tell you a true story real quick about my life and how God saved my life. See, it is in my teenage years and also in my early 20s is when I felt overwhelmed because of dealing with internal afflictions. Come on now, feeling overwhelmed because see here, society and the enemy knows how to work on you and isolate you and make you feel like you're the only one struggling with sin. Come on now. You feel like you're the only one struggling with sin. See, there's a lot of people who have took their life because they don't know where to turn. They don't know who to go to because society is so hateful towards people who struggle within their sexuality. But it is when God, and I kid you not, it is when God came to me and said, how dare you feel that way about yourself? Because I was so overwhelmed that I didn't even want to live. But God says, how dare you feel that way about yourself when there are people who have darker skeletons in their closet? See, here's the thing. At this point in my life, I'm not active. I'm not in no relationship. I'm not even acting on anything. I was a homebody. But yet I felt burdened. But it's God who had to show me myself. And here's what you will understand about people. They will talk about your sin while they are actively living in sin and ignore God. See, when I looked around in my environment, I was the only one in the house reading the Bible. Come on now. I was the only one seeking God. Meanwhile, everybody else was living in they life and living actively in sin. Because people think as long as they ain't gay, they on their way. They on their way to heaven. That's how society is wired, because that is the condition. Most people don't think that they're in sin. This is why you still see the behavior the way it is. This is why you see so many babies out of wedlock, because most people don't think that as long as you're dating the opposite sex and that y'all are hooking up, then that's okay. But they don't know, right? They don't know that then that they were still guilty of sin. They didn't know that. Because this is a time where, we pick and choose. It's like a tree. It's like a tree where people just pick off a branch to break this off and break this off. But God says you got to uproot the whole tree, because the whole tree, every branch on this tree is sinful. Here's what I'm getting to. This whole time, while I was looking down on myself, God was already looking up at me, saying that you're one of my chosen ones. You're somebody that's going to break generational curses. You're somebody that I'm raising up as a leader. You don't even know who you are, because sometimes what we experience in life is not who we are. Sometimes it's by default. Because see, this is why I say it's not just about praying something away, because once you receive that invitation from God and you finally know that, okay, God accepts me. So here I am, God, wholeheartedly. You see everything about me. That's all God wants. He just wants you to come on in. He's going to take care of the rest, because once I received Christ, come on now, he started peeling back layers about me to me that I didn't know of. See, some things we experience is because of by default, by environmental. I didn't realize the reason why I didn't like being around men is because I seen women being abused. I didn't realize all that stuff was playing a part on me as a little girl, seeing women be abused, whether it was family members or friends of family. I seen this in the environment. I knew a little girl who was touched by her own father. I know he did it because I know how he was around us as little girls. So when he got convicted of this, like in real life, not just God, but as far as he went to prison for it, I knew it wasn't a lie. But see, as a little girl, I never knew all these things was causing me to stay away from men, because I saw them as danger. See, sometimes when you go through things or you experience a life, it's not just because that's who you are. It's by default. You see what I'm saying? You will go to other places to find a place of safety. And being in a community of women was safety for me, because I could rest. I didn't no longer have to run from predators. I could rest for a moment. See, what you thought was your curse in this chapter of your life was really a blessing. God, what the enemy meant for evil, God would somehow make it for good. Come on now. That's deep. You better catch them diamonds. Listen, and this is what God is having me to say, is receive God's invitation. Don't allow other people to dictate your relationship with God. Don't let them get in your head. They probably already done been in your head long enough. But you gotta silence society and go to God on your own, because I'm telling you, you don't know who you are. And when God starts to peel back layers in your life, a lot of things you will see that it could be due to trauma or your childhood environment. You see what I'm saying? Stop. Don't beat yourself up so bad. There are some people who didn't make it because they didn't have these type of videos. They didn't have people to confide in that were safe. But even if you are a man that is, going through, have the same stronghold, don't feel bad about it. Just receive God's invitation so God can start pulling back layers in your life to show you more about yourself. And here's another thing for those that's, thinking, I see this too, like, thinking about dating the opposite sex. Because when you've been, in this chapter, you have lived like this for so long, you thinking about how it's gonna be over here. Let me tell you, don't even worry about it, because that's a whole nother process. And maybe I may do some series on this and tell you how God helped me through it. And so don't worry about that part just yet. If it's too much for you to think about, don't worry about it. Just receive, that invitation from God, knowing that He knows who you are. He knows your life. He knows everything about it. You'll be so surprised to see how much God knows about you, and that you don't have to hide anymore. Because that is the only way God can deliver you and give you a brand new life, and when you fully surrender and say, God, here I am. No more shame, no more pain. You don't have to run from God. You might run from them people, but don't run from God, because God is the one that is looking for you. People will forsake you, but God is for you. I'm telling you, this is my true testimony. My true testimony. Don't let people try to tell you who you're going to be. I had people try to do that to me as a little girl, but they didn't know. They didn't see this me coming, because I didn't see this me coming. Catch them diamonds.